And now you're trying to force Wade to go collect old water bills. Meanwhile, the citizens out here are depending on charities to survive. Enough's enough. Went out, got a whole bunch of signatures to do a recall election just to show you how mad the people were. And it did not register. So now I found out a new way to get this fixed.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, we will. Oh, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is Greg Key. I'm representing the Children's Advocacy Center, 711 Pine Bluff, where I'm the Executive Director. Just wanted to come before the Council tonight. I know that the discussion of the funding for the CAC is on, and we just want to say thank you for keeping us on the agenda and allowing us to continue to work with Paris PD and the other law enforcement agencies here in town to serve the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Key. Anyone else? All right. We will move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the council. With such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda, a council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Does any member wish to remove an item from the agenda for discussion? If not, I'll hear a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we've got a motion we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. What is that? 5-0. We will move on to the regular agenda. I will ask for forgiveness this evening. We have a lengthy agenda, and we're kind of going to be playing a little bit of piecemeal and a little bit of whack-a-mole, moving things around. So we're going to be moving. I'd like to hear a motion to move agenda item number 22B up ahead of 10.
Oh, so moved.
Okay, we got a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Before we go into that, though, I would like to go ahead and state for the record, Councilmember Norman and myself will have to recuse ourselves from this agenda item, for the executive session on this item. So I'll go ahead and take a motion on that also.
Make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We will go ahead and enter into executive session, convene into executive session under, let me get my records right here, section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney to receive legal advice from the city attorney about one, pending or contemplated litigation, and or two, on matters in which the duty of an attorney to a client under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflict with this chapter, to wit, Paris Regional Medical Center and other matters. The time is 5:37 p.m. We will now convene into executive session.
matter, that other motion first, we can do that before they're unrecused.
All right, it is 5:44 PM, and we will go back into open session. Is there any action that needs to be taken on this item?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the settlement agreement with Pure MC.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Quick question,
You two will not vote.
perfect, just for clarification and for the record. So, all right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0.
Now we need a motion
Yes.
to unrecuse you.
Now, we will go ahead and take a motion to get us back into session here and unrecuse Councilmember Norman and myself.
Make a motion.
We'll make, okay, we got a motion, we have a
Second.
second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. We will now go ahead and take care of agenda item number 22A, convene an executive session pursuant to section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person. The time is 5:46 PM. We will go into executive session. All right, the time is now 6:02 PM, and the city council is now in open session. There's no action to be taken, so we will now move back onto the regular agenda at agenda item number 10. Receive a presentation from Mr. Amo Mensa about the Community Development and Planning Department. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is one of the series for departments to give a presentation to know how, what the departments are set up for and what we are currently doing. So I'm in charge of the Community Development Department, and I also double up as the city planner for the city in terms of technical reviews. Under this department, we have 4 divisions. That is the building division, headed by Duke McGee, the building official, Sherry Bedford. She is in charge of the Main Street, and mostly with the HPC, that is the Historic Preservation Commission, Duke McGee takes charge of that. Robert Talley, the famous guy, he's in charge of code enforcement. And mostly I take charge of the planning department. So with the planning department, you mostly see that we deal with pre-development meetings, and for this year, we so far have about 70 meetings, and it's a lot. And also we have other primary responsibilities, such as we're going to do the comprehensive plan. Hopefully, after the budget, we're going to do that. And we also work on zoning change applications, specific use permits, land development amendments, zoning verifications, and neighborhood meetings. We do also have development review committees on new developments coming in. We also have the 5 and 5 program, which some of you are very interested in particular with. And we've recently gone through some of these applications, and you've approved them. And some of the projects that we are looking into are the Unified Development Code. That is to bring all the codes for development together, including the subdivision regulations and other ordinances. That is to make it much more easy and one-stop shop for all those ordinances. We are working on the Neighborhood Uniformity Design Standards Manual, and we have some programs that we're going to do also to get the neighborhood cleanup, such as Love Your Block Neighborhood Revitalization Cleanup, in partnership with the Keep Paris Beautiful, and the Home Buyer Educational Program. And we have a new program that is coming up. It's called Repair Fair, that will help neighborhood cleanup and repair for seniors who qualify for this program. Some of the goals that we hope to achieve is to improve and continue to promote the 5 and 5 program, infill program, and promote long-term growth in the community, and encourage business development as well. So with building, its main goal is for the budgeting, safety, and community well-being. And mostly what it is going to look at is for the budgeting, it generates revenue through permits and inspections, and also helps control the city's infrastructural costs and informs long-range planning. And so for safety, it enforces construction standards that protect lives and prevent disasters, and also ensuring that there are structurally sound and code compliant. For the community well-being, It enhances the quality of life by regulating safe housing, promoting accessibility, and preserving neighborhood integrity, and supporting the equitable development. Through proactive oversight and strategic guidance, the building department supports both immediate safety and long-term community prosperity. If you look at the next slide, you will see that, let me see, yes, there's a comparison between January to June 30th, 2024, and January 01 to June 11th, 2025. Total issued permits, total issued COs, reviews, and total inspections. Those numbers are given over there. And in 2024, at that time, the total amount was 137,636.15 cents. In 2025, up to June 11, it was 119 and 738 and 74 cents. And so those are the incomes that the building division brings about up to that date. And we also have the Main Street concept, and it is accredited by the Main Street America as, and also the state, and some of the programs that are always looked at is filing quarterly activity reports of the Main Street District, that is Paris, to the Texas Historical Commission. We partner with the PIO team for new consistent branding with the Main Street and also the farmers market. There is also the updating of the downtown texas.org property listings and a whole lot. We don't have too much time to go through all of that, but we also participate in the downtown solid waste solution meetings, and as well as assist with design renderings for signage and assisting with the HPC in office. So historic preservation. Currently, there are 3 historic districts, 16 individual landmarks, and with the certificate of appropriateness, we've had 13 minor approved applications by the HPO, that is the Historic Preservation Officer. For new constructions, we've had 2, and commission renewed COA is 6. For sign is 2, and we have grants of about 5,000, and there has been only 1 application for that. With code enforcement, I know the council is very particular about this division, and we've been working very hard to get the city cleaned up. And so some of the activities we do is typically involve high weeds, junk rubbish, dilapidated structures, junk vehicles, brush and limbs, front yard parking, and various other ordinance violations. So we have the abatement crew also, and they are responsible for the mowing of the high weeds, demolition structures, removing illegal dump facility maintenance, securing structures, moving and assembling furniture, and helping other departments such as Main Street and the airport. So the department also works with municipal court and adult probation to provide community service hours for fine payment and probationers. Lastly, you see metrics of how the code enforcement works, the process. Mostly there are various forms of violations and how we find them. Either we get a call by phone, office visit, email, or City of Paris website, or proactive field work inspections. And if it happens, we get a complaint, we get to the site, and if a violation is found, a notice is given to the property owner, and the case starts, and it starts recording for violations. And letters are sent to property owners, and they are given a certain time to correct these violations. And if not, they are given extensions. And these extensions, if they violate these extensions, there are two options. Either it goes to the court, or the city takes charge to abate the problem, and a lien is put on that. And so that is what is the process that code enforcement takes to get the city clean. Thank you. You have any other questions?
No, sir. Council, any questions, anything that you'd like to address to Mr. Amo-Mensah? Just want to say thank you for all you guys do in your department. You guys all do a fantastic job, and I know we work very hard to keep things going, but I know it's a tough job, so oftentimes, more times than none, a thankless job. So thank you for what y'all do.
Thank you.
Sir. Moving on to agenda item number 11, discuss and act on a resolution approving Danny Rowell as the Director of Public Utilities. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Do. Thank you, Mayor and council members. I don't typically want to read a whole memorandum, but I don't want to leave anything out on this one. So Danny Rowell was appointed to serve as the interim Director of Utilities on August 3rd, and the city charter requires all department heads to be approved by the city council. Since his appointment, Mr. Rowell has demonstrated exemplary leadership, successfully guiding the city through several complex initiatives, including the ongoing $100+ million wastewater treatment plant project. Danny shows integrity, dedication to public service, and genuine concern for the well-being of his staff. Mr. Rowell has devoted nearly 30 years to the city of Paris. Beginning his career in a maintenance one position, he has steadily progressed through the organization, serving as water treatment plant superintendent before assuming the role of interim director of utilities. His professional and educational qualifications include a Class A water certification license, completion of numerous college-level courses, over 900 hours of continuing education in water and wastewater management from Texas A&M, and graduation from several management, safety, and leadership training programs. Most recently, Mr. Rowell completed the Maxwell Institute Leadership Training course under the guidance and leadership coach of local government consultant James Arndt. Mr. Arndt praised Mr. Rowell as one of the most motivated and coachable participants he has ever worked with. Staff recommendation to council is to approve the resolution to appoint Danny Rowell as Director of Utilities.
Thank you very much. Council, any discussion, any questions that you may have? Before we take a vote on this, just wanted to mention real quick, you know, Danny, you've stepped up tremendously throughout the time where we've needed a lot of help. And we on council have seen that tremendously, your effort that you've put in. We appreciate that, and you've grown so much as an individual. I just want to tell you, we really appreciate that. That dedication is definitely hasn't gone unseen. We've seen it, and we really appreciate all that you do. So, thank you for that. Council, if there's no other questions or anything like that, we'd love to hear a motion.
I'd be happy to make the motion.
We've got a motion. Do I hear a second? We got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations and thank you. All right, we will now move on to agenda item number 12. Receive a presentation from Mr. Talley and Ms. Bedford about the vacant building registry. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see you tonight. Robert and I are going to give you an update on what's happened with the vacant property registry. We're going to start out with just letting you know that we started the vacant property registry in 2018, and it was very successful. So in 2022, we've also added to the vacant property registry the residential district. And so we are now using that as incentive in the residential district and our commercial district. We have 197 total parcels in downtown, and when I say parcels, that does include vacant lots, parking lots, buildings that are not there anymore, and then that's not just the buildings that are vacant, okay? We have 522 parcels in our historic districts. We have 19 historic districts. The HD1 is the commercial district, and 2 is the Church Street, and then 19 is the Pine Bluff Historic District. And then the rest are just individuals, okay? So we've got 522 parcels in 2 through 19. On the vacant property commercial list, we had 43 structures identified in November, which represents about 22% of the parcels. And on the residential listing, we had 24 structures in those 522 parcels, and that was 5%. Okay. So the timeline that we're following was written out for us, and you can find it online. Was November and December is when I do my part, is identifying the properties that are vacant in downtown. And Robert and I actually go together and do the residential district. So we drive through in November and December and pick out all the ones in the residence, but I identify the ones that are in downtown. And then I turn it over to Paige, and she collects all that information, organizes it in January, and begins to send out notices to the people that have vacant properties. And in February through April, they're given 90 days to bring in their property and register it with the City of Paris. And then in May and June, there's inspections scheduled. After they're registered, they get an inspection scheduled to make sure that the property is ready to be registered appropriately. And after June, we send out violation notices to non-compliant property owners. And then I'm going to turn that over to you for that last one, Robert.
July and August, any non-compliant property complaints are filed in the municipal court. I will say that that's when we get a lot of people that will come in once they receive their violation notice, and they'll either register or pay at that time. The statistics so far for this year, we've had 7 commercial buildings in HD1 that are now in compliance. So of the 43 that we started out with, 7 of them have either registered, paid their fee waiver, or are now occupied. We've had 2 COs, so 2 new businesses have opened.
Or a permit. They got a permit. They're
Right.
doing construction, so.
36 commercial buildings are non-compliant and will receive violation notices this week. 4 residential buildings in HD2 through HD19 are now in compliance. We still have 20 residential buildings that are not in compliance. They will also receive their violation notices this week. Fees and waivers. We always have a lot of questions. A lot of the businesses downtown, a lot of the residents, they want to know what the fees are and how if they can get it, whether or not they can get it waived. Yearly fees for commercial buildings start at $500 and increase an additional $500 per year. So in other words, if you just bought a building and it was vacant, you're going to start out at $500. The next year it would be $1,000, then $1,500, $2,000. So you are penalized the longer that you keep it vacant. For the residential side, it starts out at $250, and it's an increase of $50 per year. So it's the same metric, it's just with $50 instead of $500. The waivers, this is copied straight from our ordinance, but this just goes into the different things, how people can, you're still going to have to register your building when it's vacant, but you may not have to pay the fees if you meet any of these last 4 criteria. And just to sum some of it up, if you have an active building permit, you saw Osei give his presentation. We have a lot of stuff going on downtown. A lot of those permits are coming from downtown. Various states of either demolishing the inside of a building, that's the first step, and then they'll start remodeling. Other things, if you had a natural catastrophe, obviously, if a building collapsed, we're going to give you a little bit of time to get that under control. If you're actively trying to sell your building, if you've got it listed with a real estate agent, you can receive a fee waiver on that also. And that's it. Be happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Council, any questions?
I have one, like on residential, what would a non-compliant issue, what might that be?
Well, I mean, it's basically just a vacant residential structure. The way we check those, we'll look for water bills. Anytime you look at an electric meter, it'll go through its things, and if it says OPN, that means that electricity is not going into the house. So it doesn't have an active electric account. If it says closed, then that means that the circuit is closed, electricity is going in. So the two main ways that we determine whether or not this building is vacant is the electric bill, or the electric meter, and then the water bill. So yes, any structure that we see that doesn't have those two things, then yes, we consider it a vacant residential structure.
And online, if you want to go to our city base map, you can actually see the properties that are vacant by just checking on the base map. We have a list of them there. So not in the residential, but definitely in the commercial district. So you can go see all the properties in the historic districts, learn a little bit about them on our GIS base map under engineering.
I know you guys work hard every year to put on, imagine the possibilities, and you guys try to market these buildings. I don't know what other communities do, but I appreciate that you guys take that into consideration, really try to help to get these properties back on the tax roll. I know from councils past and our current council, we would love to see all of these buildings be utilized, and I know we all want that, and so we want to figure out a way to make that happen, obviously, but in the most economical way possible, and not to be too harsh, but to figure out, hey, look, we mean business. We want to thrive, and we want the cost to go down on so many other things for our citizens. Only way we're going to do that is to increase the businesses, the commercial activity, the homes, and we've got to have a community that's willing to put forth that effort. If we don't, then obviously we're all going to flounder here. So I think that this is a good initiative, and appreciate you guys taking the time to put this together.
Yeah, I do want to say that the vacant property registry is something that is, we've got online, but it's also been modeled in several cities. This ordinance is a really good ordinance, and I spoke on it at the State Main Street office training last year because it's been very good. And one thing that is a benefit that we don't always talk about, but I think it's pretty important, is that we're not just collecting these fees to hold on to them. We will actually use them for grants for people that are interested in changing their vacant building into something. And so we do have that put in a pot set aside. So yes, we do have this money that we're actually taking in, but it's not being spent just on the general fund. It's actually set aside for vacant properties and to be the carrot along with the stick. So anyway.
Very good.
It's a great
So you
fact.
received one of those grants, so
There you
it
go.
works. I mean,
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
at this time, if we could perhaps entertain moving item number 21 up, and I believe we're going to need a short recess in order for the technology. We'll have some people joining us via video conferencing, and I think our tech people need to do something with the sound or something.
Yes, ma'am. I'll go ahead and hear a motion to move up agenda item number 21.
Motion.
We got a motion and a second. All those in, Mr. Atterbury and Ms. Norman was a second.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We will now go into a quick 5-minute break so that way the tech can be set up.
I can hear you as well.
We're ready.
All right. You good? All right, we're going to jump right back into this meeting here. We will move on to agenda item number 21. Discuss and act on a resolution approving the Forest Brook Public Improvement District Number 1 Preliminary Service and Assessment Plan, including the proposed assessment roll, directing the filing of said proposed assessment roll with the city clerk, calling a public hearing to consider an ordinance levying assessments on property located within improvement area number 1 of said district, directing the city clerk to publish and mail notice of said public hearing, providing an effective date, and resolving other matters incident and related thereto. Staff, do you have a presentation?
I do, and appreciate everyone online and in the audience and on council for putting up with our various discombobulations in this meeting today. We're kind of all over the place. I do have, to help me with this item, Mark McCloney from Samco Capital, Jamie Schulte from P3, who is our PID administrator, and Chris Settle, who's our bond attorney. This is just another step in getting the PID up and running and getting the bonds financed. On October 14th of last year, City Council passed and approved a resolution creating the Forest Brook Public Improvement District, which is the PID. That's 59.62 acres of land at the Forest Brook Housing Development Site in Southeast Paris. The purpose of the PID is to allow the issuance of PID bonds to provide funding to the developer, Lone Star Plan Developments, LLC, for the construction of authorized improvements consisting primarily of infrastructure related to the project. At the same meeting, the council also approved a development agreement with the developer. Earlier this year, the developer requested that the city issue an initial PID bond, which will be for less than $2 million. The bonds are to be paid from assessments on each parcel in the housing development, and the city has no liability with respect to the repayment of those assessments or of the bonds. The PID is a reimbursement PID, which requires the developer to advance costs for the authorized improvements for reimbursement from the PID bond fund. So back in April, the city council approved a reimbursement agreement with the developer for that purpose. So the next step in the process is for council to pass a resolution approving a preliminary service and assessment plan, the preliminary SAP, and that includes the proposed assessment roll. So the service plan has to cover a period of at least 5 years, define the annual indebtedness and projected cost of the authorized improvements, and include a copy of the notice form required by law. Since the execution by all parties of the reimbursement agreement, the developer has determined to proceed with a distinct area known as Improvement Area Number 1, which is defined in the preliminary SAP. What you've got in front of you is a resolution that approves this preliminary SAP. It also will set a public hearing for the next meeting, which is the first meeting in July, in order to approve the final SAP. And I've got these wonderful folks online and in person to answer any questions that you might have, because they have a deeper understanding of this particular process than I do.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Mark McCloney. I'm with Samco Capital Markets. The way I would lay this out is, last year in the fall, you all set up the structure of this, that created a PID, but there was no infrastructure within it on how to get assessments, how to get payments, to have a revenue stream in order to issue bonds so that the developer can be paid back for the public infrastructure that he put into the ground. Now we're kind of filling that public improvement district with the tools, the revenue needed to have those revenue streams. So in short, today we're asking you to approve the preliminary service and assessment plan. We're going to then ask for, just like Stephanie was saying, ask to call a public hearing to set the assessment on the property. Again, no revenues of the cities will be used. only revenue that's going to be generated from homes within the public improvement district by itself. And then at the same time as we do that, we have to publish and mail out the assessment notice to the property owners. Well, the property owner right now is the developer. Once we move forward and the lots are finished, the homes are constructed and sold to individuals, those people will get, the purchasers will get notice of future assessments. So that's really what we're asking today. It's just the next step in fulfilling the requirements under 372 of the Texas Government Code on how to go through the PID process. So in a month, or in July, we'll be back with the actual assessments, have a public hearing. 2 or 3 months down the road, we'll be back here selling bonds. Jamie or Chris, did I miss anything?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, you were very, I mean, in my perspective, you were very thorough, so.
Yeah, this is Jamie. I was going to say the same thing. I think Mark and Stephanie, you guys both covered it very well.
Jamie worked really hard and did a really good job on this PSAP, and Chris, of course, always does excellent legal work for us. So staff's recommendation is you approve this ordinance. Or, I'm sorry, it's a resolution.
Council, I want to open up the floor for any discussion, any questions that we may have that we'd like to ask.
I just had one question. Once those assessments are calculated, can they fluctuate
So
in future?
Slightly. I'm going to
Okay.
let Jamie is going. I'm going to have Jamie answer this, but they're going to be set off originally on what the home builder agreed to.
Okay.
And that's $2,250. From there, it can go to $2,500. I believe, Jamie, is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. So the assessments will stay under $2,250 per lot in the first 3 years while the home builders are building those homes. And then after that, it will slightly increase each year based on our projections, but those are subject to change. That we estimate admin costs pretty high to give that wiggle room. So those could go down, for example, once we issue bonds, the principal and interest will be pretty set in stone. But the assessment is calculated based on the parameters of the development agreement that council approved back, I think, in October, Stephanie said. So the assessment level right now is considered essentially a maximum. If the developer wanted to levy more at a later date, that would be something that council would have to approve first. Then I'll add to that applies to improvement area 1. So we will be back at a later date to levy assessments on improvement area 2 and improvement area 3, but to increase the levy on this specific amount of land, you guys would have to approve an amendment to the development agreement or something of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I had one quick question in regards to this item. I know we have to go ahead and with the PID process with the developer. How does this play in regards to having the developers go in and start building the homes? Do they have to wait until this is formalized in the 30 days that are up? Is that how that works?
They need to, before they start selling the lots, the assessment needs to be put in. That's why often you'll see PID assessments and PID bonds sold at the same day. In this instance, we're not ready with the bonds. We needed the assessment in there so that the transfer can occur.
Got you. Okay, that helps to clarify. I know this is our first time doing this, so trying to learn and
it's very complicated.
And I'll tell you, we have bi-weekly Teams meetings with the entire team and with the developer team to work through this process. I think it's also probably the first time the developer's gone through this process before, so we're kind of learning together. We've got excellent professional support in the people that are here today with you. So it's something that we work on regularly. It is a living, breathing process that's going on.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all y'all's hard work on this. This is I know this is our first time as a city to do this, but it's been a beast, but thank you. Council, if there's no other questions or any further discussion, I'd like to hear a motion. We've got a motion from Ms. Norman. Second from Mr. Atterbury. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for the presentation, those online and those that have come in person. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie and Chris. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, for the record, we're going to move back to agenda item number 13. Agenda item number 13, discuss and act on authorization to issue reports for proposals for administrative services, RFP, as a disaster recovery management service provider to complete application and project implementation and requests for qualifications, RFQ, for engineering services for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Public Assistance, PA, Hazard Mitigation Assistance, HMA, Funding Administration by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Texas Division of Emergency Management, and/or Texas Water Development Board. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, thank you. And I would like to say too that Mr. McElfish is here as well. So if you want, you can come up and I'll kind of introduce the topic. And then if there's any questions, he'll be here to help us with it. So as you know, each year weather events and natural disasters occur, and the state and federal government release disaster declarations. When they release those declarations, we have a certain amount of time to put in applications to get assistance for cities and counties in the efforts to mitigate and or take care of the issues that those disasters have caused us. So the disaster relief funds are made available. A declared city or county may apply for funding under the specific program, but often the deadline for application is quick and we're left with only a short window to apply. Unfortunately, the window is often missed and lies in the fact that each disaster relief program we need to hire an administrator to administrate that program, and the process can take a month or longer. So FEMA's pre-positioning alleviates the need to hire an administrator separate for each disaster relief funding. A city simply needs to perform the hiring process one time, and that hiring is good for a period of up to 5 years. And it has the option to have extensions. Their pre-positioning will save the city great amounts of time, effort, and money, and it applies for TDEM, FEMA, and TWDB. It's budget neutral, and obviously the staff would recommend that we do this just so we're pre-positioned in case a natural disaster happens. And that's my side of it, and if you have anything to add or to take questions.
That's perfect. Any questions? This is basically a process that we can go through to position the city to receive funding in competitive type grants when the bucket of money is not very big. It's fast. We need to be ready to apply. We skip the RFP process, basically procurement, which takes 5 to 6 weeks, and we just apply. It's a two-year initial, and then 3 one-year extensions are available. I'll just come back to the city, talk to Rose. She'll say yes, we'll do it again the next year. So for 5 years, you can skip the procurement process. Just do it one time. Procurement is pretty simple, but it takes time. It takes a month, sometimes 5 weeks. Well, in that month or 5 weeks, if a city's pre-positioned and in front of you, they're going to get funded. You're not. So we want to put Paris where you get funded. It's a great program. I'm doing it all over Northeast Texas. Just did it in Lamar County this morning. Very good deal for Paris.
Thank you so much. Council, any discussion, any questions? I think this is a great opportunity for our community to be able to have that advantage, especially in times of emergency. So I appreciate this. Appreciate you all looking into this and bringing this up.
And I might add, Mayor, there's an open DR right now. So as soon as we're done with this process and your administrator is hired, I'll revisit the city and we'll talk about the open DR and what the needs might be.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Council, want to open up the floor for a motion if there's no other further discussion?
Oh, I just had one question.
Oh, please.
I'm sorry. One question. How, for counties who have both been affected, how do you determine the needs of one versus the other, if they're very similar? I mean, is that a complicated question? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy. The city and the county are going to be held separately. Your focus will be on roads, streets, drainage, hazard mitigation, generators, early warning systems, things that happens within Paris. With the county, it's a little bit different because we can do larger drainage projects that are, out of the city limits, and the county's needs are usually a little bit different. But we just keep them separate. You're separate clients, and that's how we do it.
Awesome. That's a good question. Will I entertain a motion?
Sounds good.
Okay, we've got a motion and
Second.
second. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Agenda item number 14, discuss and act on a resolution authorizing city representatives in matters pertaining to the city's participation in the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs Home HRA program. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. So, as you know, the home program has been going on in Paris for quite a long time. I'm new to it, so I've been learning about it, but it's a great program, and the city has participated in it for a number of years. The Texas Department of Housing and Community makes funding available to the benefit of low-income residents at the state of Texas communities through the Texas Home Investment Partnership Program. And the prior city manager and deputy city manager were the signatories on the current contract, and this needs to be updated for Mayor Pankaj and I to be able to sign. So that's what we're asking for today.
Council, any discussion on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Got a motion from Ms. Norman?
Second.
Second from Mr. Atterbury. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 15, discuss and act on a resolution approving that an application be completed and submitted to the TDHCA to participate in the home program and authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, building on the last presentation, the next round of applications for the home program is now due, and in order to apply, the city council must approve a resolution, and the city staff will prepare and submit the application. If approved, we will enter another multi-year contract for additional funding for the home program. And it has been an excellent program for our community to take the old dilapidated housing and replace it with brand-new construction. In addition, to be eligible for the program, families must be below certain income thresholds, so this program is an incredible help to low-income families in our community. It's good to note that the city's match will change a little bit now. It's based on population, so that match will be, for us, 24%. And we do set aside money for this. This year, we had set aside $80,000, so that is in our budget every year. It has been for the last 15 years.
Council, any discussion, any questions on this item? I had one quick question. How do we get the word out about this opportunity? This is as you know, I know that a citizen had reached out to me and I was like, man, I wonder how we can help, or what is the avenue that we could direct them down? And we both kind of came to that, revelation to say, hey, this is it's right in front of us. This is a great program. Is there a way that citizens can know a little bit more about this program?
I think that's a great question, and we did talk about that. We could work with John to get the word out more. One of the things that Mr. Edwards said is that we did have a lot of applications this year, and they get weeded out pretty quickly based on things like there can't be any liens on the property, or if they are, they have to be taken care of, and all these things that kind of make it challenging. But it's a great program, and so we could work with John to get the word out more. But I don't know how they're getting the word out now, because they did have quite a few applications. So.
Yeah, I was very surprised to hear how many applicants there were on this program, but it's definitely a great program for our community, and I'm glad we have it. There are a lot of people that could really use it, so.
Yes.
Well, good. Thank you for that consideration, and if there's no other further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion.
All right, we got a motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Atterbury. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 16, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Appendix A, fee schedule, Article A, 10.000, utility rates and charges, section A 10.003, water rates of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paris, Texas, to reflect changes recommended by the 2025 Water and Sewer Rate Study, providing a repealer clause, a severability clause, a savings clause, a penalty clause, and providing for an effective date. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mayor and council members. Each year, as you know, the city has an independent rate consultant perform a cost of service study on the water and sewer system. That study and our rate maintenance policy are important financial tools enabling the city to maintain its bond credit rating and the financial integrity of the system. A healthy credit rating saves the city literally millions of dollars over the time period of a bond issue. And just a drop of one interest percent on a bond rating can literally cost you that much money. The financial integrity of the system, of course, is important to residents and to businesses in order to help them be successful. And so we must maintain that system at all times. On June the 9th, the City Council was presented with the study results by New Gen Strategies and Solutions. And their recommendation is, since the city has not raised water rates since 2022, they recommend an 8.25% increase in those water rates. The ordinance that you have before you has all the detailed numbers that result from that, and it's a staff recommendation that you approve this ordinance tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anderson. Council, any discussion, any questions we have? Okay. I'll just say this. This is obviously always a tough pill to swallow. I hate voting on this, just going to be transparent for the record. But it is something that we have to do. Unfortunately, we got to keep moving. So I'll hear a motion.
I'll make it.
We've got a motion. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Agenda item number 17, discuss and act on an ordinance authorizing the issuance and sale of City of Paris, Texas tax notes, Series 2025, providing for the payment of said notes, approving the official statement, providing an effective date, and enacting other provisions relating to the subject. Ordinance number 2025-009, previously adopted by the City Council, is superseded in its entirety by the adoption of this ordinance. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, as you all know, I like to do things early. So this was prematurely placed on your agenda 2 weeks ago, and Rose did the presentation, and you all approved it, and our bond attorney said, wait, you're 2 weeks early. So this ordinance repeals what you did 2 weeks ago and approves it. It's the same exact information, just on time.
Gotcha.
If you all would pass the ordinance, we'd be grateful.
Fantastic. Council, any discussion on this item? Okay. If not, I'll hear a motion. We've got a motion from Ms. Norman. Second from Mr. Atterbury. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 18, discuss and act on a services agreement with the Lamar County Humane Association in the amount of $15,000 for the public purpose of helping control the population of stray, unwanted animals. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. I will basically wrap this presentation for all three of the next items into this memo. As you know, the city had in previous years budgeted $100,000 to $105,000 for nonprofits to give money to them. They're supposed to do that to provide services for public purpose, and the council this year it was not budgeted for any of this to happen. But we do have 3 agencies that help us to do our work every day and really offset our general fund balance to provide services to the community. And those 3 are Baby Guns, Lamar County Humane Associations, and the Children's Advocacy Center. We would like to give $15,000 to the Humane Society, $7,000 to Baby Guns, and $15,000 to CAC. This is included in the police budget because all three of those things offset that budget. And we do have money in that budget this year to provide the funding for these, and we do think that those meet the requirements to give money to nonprofits, to give tax money to nonprofits. So we have Rich here, if you have any questions for him about how that money gets used to help the police department to do their job. So.
Fantastic. Hi, Chief. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
Good. Council, any questions or any discussion with Chief or Ms. Beverly? No. I'll just make one quick statement on all three of these, just so that way it doesn't back each other up. But I appreciate y'all's patience on this. I know this was brought up so many times since we first discussed the 100,000 or so that we usually give out every year annually. I think most everyone was very understanding of the fact that, hey, we had some pretty emergent needs that needed to be, taken care of ahead of this, given out to nonprofits. And these are very well deserved, and I appreciate y'all's patience in really trying to decipher and figure out the wiggle room of where we can fund and what we can't. So thank you for that. And I know that each one of these agencies is very appreciative of the support also. So it goes both ways.
And all three of these we work really close with all three of these. The CAC, which if you're not familiar with it, I really recommend you tour their facility. If they weren't here, the children who were abused mentally, physically, sexually, they would have to, instead of being brought to a safe environment where they have people on staff that can examine them and interview them, and they're under their special discipline, they would all have to be brought to the police department. And which is not a place where you want to bring children. So that's a really, really big deal that the CAC continues to operate in Paris, because they're the only ones that do this. And then with the animal shelters, Lamar County Humane Society has been embedded with us for years. A couple of years ago, we began also working with Baby Guns, who approached us wanting to rescue animals or bring animals, take animals out of our shelters. So the more every animal that we can get rescued and adopted out is one less that we don't have to euthanize. So we'll work with any rescue that wants to come and reduce our population.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Council, any more discussion, any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, and I really appreciate Baby Guns for helping me find my dogs this morning, so I'm happily make the motion.
Perfect. So we got a motion from Ms. Putnam.
Second.
All right, second from Mr. Atterbury. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 19, discuss and act on services agreement in Baby Guns Animal Rescue in the amount of $7,000 for the public purpose of to help control the population of stray and unwanted animals. I believe we've
Just
already.
need a vote on each
Yes,
one.
we'll just go ahead and open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion to approve item 19.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second, we'll do Ms. Norman this time on the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 20, discuss and act on a services agreement with the Children's Advocacy Center in the amount of $15,000 for services related to the Paris Police Department. I'll open the floor for a motion. We got a motion from Mr. Ellis and a second from Ms. Norman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we will now jump to agenda item number 24. And this would finish off our hop, skip, and jumping around. Agenda item number 24, consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Does anyone have anything? If not, we will go ahead and move to agenda item number 25, adjournment. I will ask for a motion in a second.
On behalf of Gary.
Roxy here. We got a motion and a second from Ms. Norman. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0.